It's Wednesday, the 22nd of December, 2021. This is your host, Riri, welcoming you to another episode of A Little Late in Crypto. As it often does in crypto, the time has flown by. We at Dpad are wrapping up our first 30 days of A Little Late in Crypto. Today, we'll do a recap of all our previous topics. In the first month, we covered IDO allocations, Launchpad tier systems, and how to identify a good Launchpad. We scoped out IDO gainers, some big losers, and even some rug pulls. We talked about the Binance monopoly, and we compared the differences between centralized and decentralized exchanges. We shared with you some portfolio management tips and demonstrated some of the tools you can use to track and manage your crypto assets. We covered crypto wallets, NFTs, the metaverse, and multiple ways to earn both active and passive crypto income, from trading to hodling, to staking, to providing liquidity, or earning crypto for shopping or travel perks. And then we wrapped up the last week with some technical analysis basics and overall market sentiment readings. If you like learning about crypto, subscribe to the Dpad channel, show us some love by giving this broadcast a thumbs up, and please leave your questions in the comments for a live answer later in the show. If you want to earn some crypto right now, head over to the Dpad Telegram channel and claim your free tokens from the pinned message. All right, let's get started. How are you guys this evening?
I'm good. And
Awesome.
I think, yeah, we have our other panel member, Vipul, as well, I think, today. But let's hear from him. Oh,
Yes,
he
please.
just okay, no issues. So let's start. I think we have like almost 30 sessions.
We do. We have 30 episodes already.
So,
or this is the 30th, I think. You go to videos and then filter by date, but then there's the shorts are in there too. Here it is, episode 1, IDO allocation.
session.
Yeah, it's next to the Fox. It's next to the MetaMask one. Are you trying to play audio? Have we lost your audio now too? I think we must have lost your audio.
Okay. Now I'm.
I heard you for a moment, but then you cut out again. Hey everyone, we're having technical issues again.
Yeah. So let me try from.
Oh, here you are. There you were. No.
Try testing with other internet, and then I will come back and soon.
Okay, good luck. So sometimes we have technical difficulties. I started out with my headset has gone haywire. I could hear everything until I got into the call, and then the headset was just not working. And then I'm on the phone now. And what we have to do to fight through this technology is such a riot sometimes. I swear to you, I am IT's job security. As long as I'm around, IT will need to be around. So, how's everyone else tonight? It looks like you might be back because the mouse is moving, but we still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So in the first episode, in first 3 episodes, I think we have discussed about IDO allocations. So as far I can see from the topic itself, like yeah, so we tried to cover different types of like how much allocation we usually receive. And in fourth episode, it was about the launchpad tire system. So we probably have discussed about the different launchpads and their tire system, what is with the guaranteed allocation, what's with the first come first serve basis, and probably would have given some tips. Definitely, uh, I'm pretty sure some like might be from my side or probably from crypto wallet side or might be from other person as well. So in those 2 episodes, we tried to cover. I think we can go again discuss it, but it will take a longer way. How would you like to like do it? I don't think we will be able to cover all 30 episode in just one single session for sure. We can again go back and probably speak 30 days again on the same topic. It will be again a different content for sure.
Oh, well, what we could do is just take a look and just do a 1 minute once over. You know, I noticed as I was going through the 30 episodes that on certain topics, we actually spent multiple days going over the topics, and other topics we covered rather quickly. So I think the best thing what we should do is cover each one briefly and see how far we get. So in the beginning, we covered IDO allocations and the tier system. And that was actually, that happened before I joined the show, was when I joined the show, I think on the 4th episode, when we started covering the tiers.
Okay. So we used to discuss like how much allocation we used to receive in those launchpad platform for how much dollar value of our investment, and that's how it started usually. And what's with the guaranteed allocation, what's with the first come first serve basis, how it's different, how difficult it is to, and how many like how much of time these launchpads usually give in the guaranteed allocation, and how much time we usually receive in first come first serve basis. So let me recap now again. I think we can go ahead and probably cover some today, and probably we can have again a session on this, yes, tomorrow as well. So in ideal allocation, and right now as the market it like sold continuously, say 30 days or even more time period of like say more red candles rather than the green candles, and overall the market is in red. So launch pads have been performing pretty well in the first 15 days of even of those period, but from the last 2 week itself like they are coming down. So I would rather say it's a good opportunity to buy launchpad token itself, and again we can now probably have some same thing as we started, say different story as we started from one month ago. So because at that time the launchpad tokens were priced very much high comparatively, I think 50% or at least 40% would have corrected in this period. So we have a dip definitely, and at even this time, the IDOs are not performing very well. But yeah, definitely there is a long list of IDO tokens, and if you believe and wants to accumulate so many tokens in your portfolio, you could probably invest at this time in the Launchpad token itself. That itself has a lot of scope to grow in terms of value, as well as there will be few launch pads which can give you huge allocation, as well as few there will be little less allocation, but definitely you will have a good chance to get something.
Oh,
So
I
probably,
found a huge opportunity to, if for anything that has really solid fundamentals that has fallen recently, if their team is active and actively updating, now is such an excellent time to either get in or lower your average.
yeah, what's the advantage with the IDO and the private sale investment is like you might get or you might not get the opportunity to invest uh, at those prices where you used to get in IDO or private sale. That's the main difference. Basically, you might get opportunity, you might not get it, depending on the project performance after IDO, depending on the market conditions in the IDO time. But yeah,
Mhm.
definitely when you have like IDO tokens uh, directly from the launch pad itself, you will never see those prices again if that is priced a bit in a good way, and that
Right.
is not very overpriced. Then you will have a lot. I think 8 out of 10 tokens will be very much above, and I think uh, they have pretty much above the IDO token itself. Some will be at 2 3x, some will be 4x, some will be even at 10x right now, even after market has fallen so much. So it will be a good opportunity to grab those tokens, grab those IDO allocations and private sale allocation through those launchpad. Probably if you want to build a crypto portfolio, if you don't want to build a crypto portfolio, if you just want to speculate here, you could probably dive into the like already existing crypto tokens which is readily available in the market, and you could probably get small gains from there, but definitely the risk is same. Why I love IDOs and private sale is because of the enormous opportunity, uh, basically a different risk reward. If you have say IDO tokens, you might get to see 10x, but with the tokens already listed in the market, they already gave such 10x or 20x opportunity to someone else. So it's just like I'm getting Bitcoin at $10,000 in this time.
Right.
So the market is priced say 50,000, but I'm getting Bitcoin at 10,000. It's similar kind of. So you are comfortably posting in that situation where you are holding from say $10,000. So you could probably hold it for 100K or even 70K. You will not feel like okay. But if you just purchased Bitcoin say at 46 or 48, you will be in enormous pressure that it can come down. And if you say have bought at 60K, you would probably in so much of deep, and probably you might have so much of headache days that oh, why not Bitcoin is going up and when I will come to break even point or something. So IDOs and private sale gives you a chance, a fair opportunity to participate in their token sale initially before it hits the market, and there the price will be lowest, and you might not get to see such prices say even after 6 months of sometimes even 3 months of great uh, beer days. I have seen such periods for few tokens. Definitely you never get to buy again at the prices of IDO, but for few tokens you definitely get, depends on the hype and depends on the performance of IDOs when it gets launched, and probably due to the mismanagement from the team, or probably due to unforeseen circumstances, probably a bit. I think at the time of IDO it was too much hype, but later on they didn't perform. I mean the team didn't give so much of announcements, so much of their work, so that the market corrected them in terms of price. So in that way you get, I think, the opportunity only to get buy back those tokens. But if you see we had seen 40 45 days of say continuously green, I mean red candles. But even if you are having 7 or 8 tokens which is not going under ideal prices in set of 10 out of 10 tokens, you are probably managing it well, and your tokens are good, selection process is well. But if you are having like 5 tokens, you are okay. But if you are like buying every token and probably are sitting underwater, and probably if you have 3 or 2 tokens only above your entry, you are bad. And if you have say 1 or 0 tokens out of 10 tokens in profit after say from 60 days, you are probably, I don't know what to tell, you are probably feeling like wrecked or anything. But yeah, definitely that's the biggest advantage with the IDOs and the private sale itself. So those launchpads gives you access to get those private sale or those IDO token itself in the like public sale. So it depends on person to person again, now I will say. Because
Right.
if right, if I'm saying like I have 150 plus tokens, now if I just compare with the tokens listed on coin market cap, it's like 1%. I cannot have 1,000 tokens. So 150 tokens itself, if you have an average allocation of say 40, I mean $400, it will be like $60,000 invested. And imagine what it can grow to. It can be 10x or it can be anything. It depends on the market itself. Sometimes it could give you overall. But if you just see after say, if you have a very good selection of IDOs and private sale tokens, and you end up I mean just holding up, forgot those tokens for say next bull year, I mean next bull, I will probably have 50 sittings at say 20x, 50 sittings at probably 10x, and 50 going into like almost zero or some under zero, and some will be fairly at the like at the same price, or some will be like going to be zero. So if you just see the average, it will be huge. So even not holding, if even if I say that whatever token sale I participated, if I would just holded it, the overall return which I received on selling of those tokens at just launch, it would have been much difference. It would have been much more profitable if you would have just holded it. Even at this price I'm talking about, like even at after like falling 40-50% from the top.
Right.
So it's so much of difference. So holding is definitely one thing, but if you could hold for say 4 or 5 years, probably things would change. Definitely few of those tokens will definitely going to be zero, but if you have a good selection, you would probably end up profiting very much. So that's where we were, I think we should start thinking our views, like if we want to go into such tokens, then only we should uh, get interested with the launchpad tokens. Else, just for price speculation, you can get into like IDO launchpad tokens itself, but not participate in the IDO tokens, because the launchpad tokens is itself like launchpad ecosystem is eventually growing from say if you just compare with the quarter 1 or quarter 2 of 2021, it's growing, it's definitely growing. And if you just anticipate what could be, it would be huge again in quarter 1 as well as quarter 2 of 2022 itself, even though the market starts chopping down. And again in the bull market, it will be a completely new way of seeing it. But yeah, definitely a decentralized version, and definitely uh, fundraising will be the part of any ecosystem, and whatever the ecosystem will be in say 2025 or 2026, but it will evolve, but it will be there. So there will be huge chance that even those launchpad tokens have to grow. Some will be evolving, some will not be able to sustain the market of beer. So just giving a warning, and let's start. So from IDO itself, you get so much of profits in terms of the price gains, in so much terms like having good assets, good amount of portfolio, good number of tokens in your portfolio. And these launchpad tires is basically designed in such a way that those who invest more in their launchpad tokens will get the benefits of getting the maximum allocation. Sometimes it's a proportional to the amount, sometimes it doesn't. Let me just share with you an example how those launchpad IDOs, I mean, how the launchpad allocations differs from one launchpad to another launchpad. Just now, let me compare with the, anyway, just let me just open calculator. Probably it would be better. So if we just compare a tier 1 launchpad with a tier 2 launchpad, now suppose IDO, an IDO project is having launchpad and two launchpads. One is on tier 1 launchpad like CD5 or DawMaker or any other top tier 1 launchpad, where the market cap of the launchpad token will be like 100 million or 200 million. Say we just give it 100 million. Now the ideal allocation for the launchpad, particular launchpad, is 100K. Okay, it has to be shared among 100 million. So it's just 1 million.
Oh, it's so hard to see without the commas.
Sorry, you can't see my screen. Okay, let me just.
No. It's so hard to tell what number that is without commas in the between the zeros.
Okay, so it's like out of $1,000 investment, you will get $1 of allocation.
Right.
So even if in that case, when you had allocation, say from a tier 2 launchpad where the uh, launchpad token is priced around say 10 million market cap, then you will probably get out of $100 you will get $1 of allocation. So what does it mean? It means that if you have $100 of launchpad tokens, you will probably get $1 of allocation for that particular project. And if that project is having its IDO scheduled on two launchpad, one is tier 1 and tier 2, you are going to get difference of like allocation. So if you have invested $1,000 in tier 1 launchpad, you are probably going to get zero. But eventually, if you just compare it with the maths, you will probably get $1 of allocation, and in tier 2, you will probably get $10 of allocation. So again, it's differ from the launchpad, but there are few projects which happens to be having its scheduled IDO on multiple launchpad. In case of say the, I think Solchix, we had 30 plus launchpads. In that case, it happened on tier 1 as well as tier 2. In that case, if you just want to have allocation, you would probably get better allocation on a tier 2 launchpads, and the investment is also low, and easy to participate is also low there in tier 2. And in tier 3, probably the selection will be a tougher part, because you might get IDO allocation in a huge quantity, but you never know. There comes the due diligence research part, which plays there a lot more rather than the just the IDO token allocation, because there you will be getting $500 allocation even for say $1,000 or $2,000 of uh, your investment. It can happen, and it happens like tier 3. If I say, it's not exactly tier 3, there is no convention to define it, but yeah, multipad and multipad, and there will be many much more tokens, like just like safe launch or something, where you will get a good allocation. Say if you have invested $1,000, you might get an opportunity to buy $500 of allocation. If you have invested say $4,000, then you are assured getting allocation of $500. So here comes the difference. You are getting almost 8% or 10% of allocation in tier 3, while if in case of the tier 1, you will probably get 0.1% or 0.2% max. So that's the difference of the amount you are investing in launchpad tokens and the IDO token allocation you are receiving.
Right.
So I think, yeah. And the
Well,
second part is
how
first come.
oversubscribed
It also depends on how oversubscribed it is, right? So the more popular the IDO, the smaller that number can go, especially on a big launch pad, huh?
I don't think so, because it doesn't matter which token is getting launched on those launch pad. It will
Oh,
anyway, like the allocation will be similar if the project allocation is same. So even
okay.
if the project is like 100K, it's like, okay, I have $8,000 of investment in the launchpad token. What will happen with the $80 investment? I am not getting wrecked. I'm not getting anything. Let me just buy it. So you think simply like that. If you have $10,000 of investment in launchpad and you are getting $20 or $50 of allocation, will you worry about that? I
No,
will
not
not.
if I've got 10,000 vested so that I have those opportunities. That's peanuts.
Yeah. So in that way, if you just see, it will be like, okay, so it anyway gonna oversubscribe. So the oversubscription method is mainly for the tier 3, or say particularly for the tier 2 launch pads, but
Mm-hmm.
not definitely gonna help with the tier 1, or where there is a guaranteed allocation, because people will definitely get into the IDOs. So there is that simple behavior is there. I'm not saying that's completely the those who will which will be hyped will be completely sold out in first come first serve part, because uh, what happens in guaranteed allocation, sometimes due to the time limitation, sometimes due to different geographic locations, not everyone in the those time zone would be able to participate, depending on the launch pad, some having say 1 hour. Not everyone will be able to participate in those 1 hour period and might miss it. In that way, say 80 to 90% uh, there will be token got filled, and the rest of the tokens will move to the first come first serve pool, where everybody gets a chance to participate in the first come first serve. So here you have opportunity. Even if you have say $1,000 invested in the launchpad tokens, you will get some opportunity you might not get with the guaranteed relocation system. In that way, you get an opportunity and you get to buy something. In that way, here is a difference. Now you have a highly subscribed a project and a like not very hyped project. So in that way, you might get a good chance to grab. If a project is not really hyped, you will be able to grab in a first come first serve part. Else the bots or those who wants to have those tokens badly will get into first come first serve part with their technical advancement. Some were using bots, some will be using like contracts, some will be using any other stuffs to get into and to
Right.
grab maximum allocation. For not for they will not go for the every tokens, but yeah, they will definitely, and they can go for the good hype one tokens for sure.
Right. Scalpers and
So we almost tried to cover first from first serve part, as well as the guaranteed location and how those IDO allocations probably differs from those launch pads. Now let's talk about episode 6, in which we were, I think, discussing about the gains we have received. So in this, I think for the me, it was the Monster, and for I think Crypto Wallet was Cryowar or something, which gave him the decent gains. And I think Cryowar all-time high is above 200x, and for me, Monster was like 480x or something. So fairly, I think I have shared almost say 50 plus names or something, where different gainers I have mentioned that this was all-time high was this, and on the launchpad day it was like fairly around this, and after that it moved down or moved up. So everyone who wants to get interested into like viewing or knowing about those gainers probably should watch this episode. Now, uh, how in general like crypto users, and how is the journey of so far from so ICO to IDO, or how is the journey in between of IEO and probably INO and IGO, we I think we try to discuss in this episode, where like we have seen the journey and how the journey travels from this that era to current era as of now, because
Yeah.
in crypto, like the months flies and it looks like an year.
Yeah.
So in I think this episode is journey of a launchpad. So yeah, probably somewhere around the same discussions how those launchpads were evolving,
Oh,
how
we covered the sectors there. We covered gaming and NFT platforms, music platforms, dApps, new blockchains, the utility and other ecosystems, layer ones, travel. We
yeah.
covered all the
So
different sectors.
we were traveling like from 2017 era to current era, in which what kind of new sectors were evolving. Like there was a farming session, probably there was some staking opportunity. So many the new dexes, the Uniswap were evolving in between. Then SushiSwap arrived, and PancakeSwap just came. And after few months of exploration, the BSC chains and even now Polygon chain, so much things we discussed, we might have discussed. And in this episode, there was more on about the portfolio management.
Yes.
And so in which I think the last tip I think I gave in few episode back was like keep a USDT reserve, and it helps in general in surviving bear market. I think that is one more addition, if I have not shared into this episode, probably should be added definitely. And regarding the portfolio management, it differs from what, where, and how much you have invested, and how much you want to like see it differently, and what's your financial status as of now, what's your goal in say recent times, what and whatever you are investing, how much time frame you are giving to that particular investment. If you are like looking for say your building some houses or some financial goals, and probably looking for the retirement, so depends on that, you can probably hold and be a continuously trader or keep moving in out. So it depends continuously depending on the user financial status. One could probably hold, one could probably one would have no option other than be a trader, one would have no option of being an say say holdings more than one cannot have holdings for more than 3 months or 4 months. One would definitely have to cut their stop losses or something. So it can be defined from say person's objectives. I think
Mhm.
we might have shared those, and I
Yeah,
think this is
we
something.
definitely did. We covered long-term and short-term, and we kept hammering on the fact that it is a personal decision and it matters how much money you want to make, how much you have to start with, and how much time you have to do it.
Yeah, so these two episodes I think were mostly related on that topic. Probably might have an interesting story from credible crypto, I think. Yeah, definitely he might have shared. I remember listening to those talks related to I think
Oh, yeah.
FMC meetings.
And
Yeah,
we got a beautiful quote from him. Portfolio management is the art and science of selecting and overseeing your investments to meet your financial objectives that match your personal risk tolerance with different approaches for short, medium, and long-term portfolios. One must also consider whether their portfolio should be actively or passively managed, as studies have shown that in crypto, chances are passive investors will outperform active traders almost every time.
yeah, nicely written. I think I have seen such art. I have seen that article as well, but didn't get so much time to read today, so that I can probably the portfolio balance, how balance is like almost into every crypto stuff.
Well, yeah, because they
So
own
probably
market cap and they own Pancake Swap and they own, well, what else do they own?
yeah, Binance Chain, Binance Dex, Trust Wallet, the Coin Market Cap. There are so many things, and probably and how do we see there were I think uh, decentralization versus centralized stocks were definitely was a part or might have got into attack from someone else. Like, no, I like the monopoly of Binance because it's much needed. The UI part, the control, and how it's helping the CEO itself is helping crypto to boom. But definitely at some part of time, it will be um, completely a, I think, personal opinion whether he likes that monopoly or one doesn't like the monopoly of Binance. But it's definitely going to impact the crypto market in general, be in the positive side or be in the negative side, but it's impacting definitely for sure.
Oh, yes. Well, and he's very calculating about it. I mean, he is on a mission. He wants crypto adopted worldwide, and that is one way to do it by forcing everything.
So yeah, in that way he can probably own everything, and on since he everything is under control of him, so he could probably manage it well. If he is just asking for the collaboration and something, one might not get interested and one might not be able to do the work like he want to do. So in
Right.
order to get audience, in order to gain traction in the crypto market, so probably that's the thought process from, I think, from his panel team or probably a team of the Binance. But definitely it's impacting market, and as of now we are also seeing a competitor like FTX growing up. They also build Solana ecosystem, probably a different kind of exchange, probably might come with or might have introduced many dexes around on Solana.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, and already I think Blockfolio or something, they got like they acquired it. So
Yes.
somehow
Yeah,
they
they
are
merged.
also trying to compete. So uh, if too many competitors are there, definitely we will be a healthy ecosystem because there will be no monopoly completely. But yeah, everyone will be trying to fight from each other, and in the meanwhile crypto will boom and a crypto ecosystem will be in the place, and it will get a huge audience as well as huge traction in general, and probably more uh, support from them in terms of like users, in terms of UI, in terms of everything. I think the improvement will happen.
Yes, for sure. I've
So
seen
in
crypto.com a lot, like moving up through the ranks now too. With they're climbing on CoinMarketCap and exchange daily volume every day, it seems.
yeah, definitely even they can be someday leading one. I don't know when it got gonna happen, but we have seen uh, I think Bittrex was the exchange which was leading in 2017, but now it's a Binance which took over almost in every aspect. At that time, their security feature by in Bittrex was very good, but yeah, definitely that was the hindrance for the new users, and somehow the new users didn't like and the UI improvement side, and they were slow or something. So somehow the Binance team somehow understood this and probably improved over there and somehow gathered the initial customers, and somehow they able to retain, and in few months time they probably took over the Bittrex volume in terms of the user, and now they are like almost at the number one.
Right.
So I think in this episode, episode number 13, winter is coming, we were probably discussing about, I think at that day or a day earlier, the market started falling. I think December 4 or something, it might be, because on that day, we have seen the weeks under 42K for the BTC, and we have seen over 10K dollars drawdown in say BTC itself, and probably so many rect storage were around from that day. We haven't recovered totally. Even if you just consider that day high and that day low, we might not have been recovered yet. It's
That's
like
right.
almost
And
two
I
weeks.
missed that episode. I was out sick that weekend.
Okay, so there was definitely a few good buy the dips, buy the dips, buy the dips. But yeah, definitely we had opportunity to buy the dips. But I would like to say just it's not about the that day if you have bought. It's not a smart move. You might have buy the dip, but it was not a smart move if you just consider that and if you want to feel panic. I think the most of the whales and most of the good traders what they believe to trade in the normal situation rather than be in the panic mode or when the market is in panic, when the market is in uh, great either the bull side or the bear side. You should not think on the basis of that day probably market volatility. You should probably wait for market to get stable and then enter, because it will give then a clear understanding of what gonna happen, what could be the possibilities. Because on those days if you just look at the charts you will not get a proper you will not be able to proper plan your trades.
Okay, so I did that 100% wrong. I woke up from a nap, saw that BTC had crashed, and immediately got on the computer and could not buy it fast enough with my BUSD that I had stuck away for just such an occasion. Took me half an hour to buy that day. The network was so congested.
It happens sometimes, and that's where they actually wants to actually buy and probably not let everyone buy the dip, because they that was just a few seconds probably. If I would have been to charts probably I could have shown that that was almost I think 20 seconds week or something, but after
Yeah.
that it went up and probably within the 2 minutes it was like almost over. So only
It
orders which were like placed before will get the filling filled, else no one else will get the fill. So if you want to actually buy the dip, you should probably put your limit orders there, else you will never ever be present on the time of the dips. If you have some numbers in your mind that okay, I will buy BTC or Ethereum whenever it goes to that dip, probably due to some malfunctions or probably due to some exchange manipulation, it might got into that prices and you could get filled. So better be prepared rather than just okay, whenever BTC will go to that price, I will see the charts and then I will buy. In that way, you will never be able to buy at that prices, because BTC will not remain at the prices. Either it will go down or it will go up. It will not be remain stable at that prices. And also you might not be able to like having free time at that particular time of instant. So you might not be able to be on the screen. Probably you might miss. You might be in somewhere. You might be watching movie, or you might be having dinner, or you might having lunch. You don't know. So in
I was
case if you have a fixed plan.
yeah, definitely. I was lucky I woke up during. I mean, I I was I had wanted to buy BTC if it dropped under 50, and it sure did. It went all the way to 43 that day. I got some at 46.
Nice. So it matters. I think it depends. Like if you are sure, then for the buying, and you should probably keep your buy orders in the parts, limit orders filled. Like it might get filled. So you could have probably, if you had your orders at say 42,500, even that would have got filled. 43,000 definitely would have got filled, or something like that. But if
I
you just
probably
try
would have
to,
had it though. I probably would have had it at 49.9 because I would have bought it at anything under 50. I woke up and bought it at 46. So maybe I
it,
did do myself a favor.
it again depends. If you have like just put a one limit order, you probably had better price on that day. But it would have been like you might be in the travel or something. You might not be able to track the market. In that case, you might have missed the buying opportunity at say 44 or 46K, whatever, whenever you see the market.
I
So
also conduct almost all my trades on decentralized exchanges. I have a small issue where my passport is misspelled, so I'm unable to KYC anywhere.
So that's good. Actually, decentralization is the way forward, in my personal belief. And I think, yeah, it's okay to pay 0.3% of the fees in terms of for a trade. But yeah, you have a good liquidity there, and you have your custody. Like all those tokens are in your custody, and
Mhm.
so it's good to have. your tokens custody with yourself, not with the exchanges. So I think
I,
that comes with the
I've not
safety part.
lost any crypto, knock on wood, since moving to decentralized, but I always do a test transaction because I'm scared to death. So that's part of my protocol. Whenever I'm going to send anything, I send $5 worth first to make sure it goes to the right address. I don't care if I've had you in the address book for 10 years. You're getting a $5 test first.
That's a good practice, I will say, and I will uh, re- request and recommend to do it, because that's the best way. You could probably save your money from be sending it to some other wallets and probably.
Well, yeah. And if you lose $5, you don't even care. You don't even remember because it's $5 and you just saved yourself however much. It's such a miracle because it happened once. I've already had one failed test. I have had one failed test. And it was just like the relief between me and my friend was just like, oh my God. He's like, I can't believe it. He goes, I get so annoyed with you. And now I'm so happy that you did that. Like, right? Right.
Yes. So sometimes it happens that your computer or your device got like somewhat compromised or something. In that case, it definitely helps. Sometimes it might get with the like, I think the most of the times, even if your not whole device is compromised, your I think the copy clipboards are
Well,
being compromised. And sometimes it gets like whatever the address you try to copy paste, you copied correct address, but when you are trying to paste into some other browser or probably some in apps, you might copy paste it a different address.
yes.
So,
What if
so
you
that
thought
can
you
also.
hit Control C, but you hit Control V, and so you didn't? You pasted your old address instead of copying the new one, and then you go paste it, and you don't realize because it's a string of letters. It's just, you should always verify the address after you paste it, and you should always do a test transaction. Yes, it seems like a pain in the ass, but should still do
Sometimes
it.
it also happens that usually we try to first add it into the MetaMask. So we might have contract address copy pasted, and what you did, you just send your tokens to the contract address. So it's not the
Oh,
other address, it's not the hacker address, but you sent by
bye.
yourself, you mistakenly to the contract address of the token.
Goodbye.
So sometimes it happens. It happens, and sometimes you can probably talk to the team, and it has happened with I think most of us, and probably we have seen so much. If you just check the contract address of each and every tokens, I think you will see those transactions that someone else
Has at
would have
least
sent something.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does that mistake.
Uh-huh.
So this is pretty common mistake, and it doesn't look like we got a scam or something. Yeah, but it
Oh, we had somebody at BitBook send a large amount of tokens to the contract address. Yeah, it was so tragic. No.
I think we
I
have covered 15 episodes. Probably we could keep the rest 15 for the next session. It would be
think that's a good idea, and we can wrap up with the audience questions,
yes.
which there's quite a few. We won't get to all of them. Let's see. Oh, what should I remember about sending or receiving cryptocurrency? Just told you that one. How to receive new coins during a blockchain fork.
So blockchain forks. So it depends on like say if there is an announced. Usually it happens to be that they properly announce how to get the Fox tokens in your wallet. Usually, if your wallet is in sync, I mean, if your wallet is upgraded to the latest version of any, say, software related updates, you will probably get into. You don't need to do any task in general. But yeah, for if you know and if you are in the active in the market, you should probably check what are the requirements of the to receive those Fox tokens, probably from the Bitcoin or probably from some airdrop or something. You should probably keep that way. And if you are probably on the exchange, you might have to do something. So better to look around like which exchanges are supporting those Fox, which exchanges are not supporting those Fox, and probably move to exchanges which supports the fork. Probably if you want to keep your funds on the exchanges, if you can move to probably into your wallet, you have those custody of your tokens as well as your Bitcoin or any other Ethereum forks or any other forks tokens probably into your wallet. It will directly come into wallet. But if that forks receiving that tokens requires anything to do, in case of your custody, you need to do that part. In case of exchanges will do all those things for you. So that's the pros and cons of holding the tokens in, exchanges and in your custody. But most of the time, I think you don't need to do any kind of task, any kind of tough task in order to receive such Fox tokens. You let it hold it in your wallet and probably, and if your wallet is upgraded and everything, you should not be worried about anything. Sometimes only it happens to be that your wallet needs to be updated or something in order to receive those tokens, or you had to do this transaction or something, or you had to do some this task probably to get into the part of like the fork or something. Else you usually receive 90% plus times you will receive it. If it is your in wallet, you will probably receive everything related to the forks in your wallet itself. You don't need to do anything, but sometimes, yes, might happen that you need to do some task in order to receive something, some kind of test transaction or something in order to get the bounty tokens, in order to get such tokens probably. But if you are in updating the market, you need not to be worried. It will be very easy task and probably everyone will be able to do it.
Can my funds be lost in a swap transaction?
Swap transaction, can your funds, if you are like connected to an a correct website, a correct you should not, you will not lose the funds if you are
No,
connected to
I had a transaction
yeah.
fail, but I didn't. I've had a transaction fail and I lost the fee that I had to pay for the failed transaction. I had to pay for it anyway, but I didn't lose any funds per se, just the transaction fee.
Yeah, so missing the fees, losing the fees is okay, but
Yeah.
I think the question is more related with the funds. So I think it can happen when you do a transaction on say a fake website you are interacting with. So be
Yes.
it PancakeSwap router address, or be it any exchange token which you are trying to swap, or be it any token, be it gaming token, be it any token probably you should match with either on from the coin market or the coin gecko, or probably from the community channels of the token itself. You should probably match. And sometimes there will be multiple copies of the those channels, so you should properly check which is the right one.
Yes.
So
And the more
don't lose
hyper
your time.
coin, the more nonsense goes on around it. So you have to do your due diligence and always check your sources. Can I switch from my existing wallet app like MetaMask or my Ether wallet, etc.? Sure, that's why you need to save your seed phrase, because you can actually transport from one to the other. But as we learned, only the main wallet will go from one to the next with the seed phrase. So you need to be mindful of that.
In case of MetaMask, yes.
Yes.
But you can move your wallets, like you can have your private key downloaded, and that will help you. If you have private key, the private key is associated with particular wallet. In case of MetaMask, we could create multiple wallets from the same seed phrase, but there will be different private keys for each and every individual wallet created. So if you have private keys, that is especially for the wallet, especially for that particular address. If you have say MetaMask address created from that particular seed, you might be able to create multiple sub wallets. So
Right.
definitely, yeah.
How do we find new token launch or new future project of crypto and tell which features we guess new tokens successful or not in the future? Well, Rocky, we actually did a full article and a full episode on what Dpad does to research a project. You can check that out on the blog, and it's got a link to the video as well. Okay, guys, that's about it for another episode of A Little Late in Crypto. We just did a recap of our first 15 episodes, and tomorrow we will go through the last 15 because it has been our first 30 days at A Little Late in Crypto. Thanks so much. Have a good evening. This is your host, Riri, signing off.